This is about the materials I use for tying the Kate McLaren, the two capes and the GP head. First cape is a dyed black Chinese cape that I use for the body hackle. These birds are grown for food in China. First and foremost for food, the feathers come second. Most of them now are white, which means that they dye pretty well. And they're available in a wide range of colours, black obviously being the one I use for this purpose. Used to be we could get more of these in assorted colours. I'm having a slight problem with this particular cape. It's fine for larger flies, but for trout-sized flies, I'm right down at the neck of the bird, and only in a small patch of the neck even. What's happening is, as birds get bigger, the feathers get bigger. So I'm right down there in amongst the very small stuff. Still long enough, but it's the question of whether or not they're wide enough. And you can see that's a cock hackle. It's got a pointed tip. The barbs are fairly free of web. You can see the web starting towards the fluffy end of at the butt there. There's a darker portion in the centre. The barbs are quite fine. If you look at the edge of the hackle at the bottom there, the barbs near the tip are longer than the barbs in the middle of the feather, and that's really the problem. And this is it's a weird, I haven't seen this before, I haven't been aware of this before, and it's something that's happened with this particular cape. I've seen it on saddle hackles, but not on neck hackles. I prefer neck hackles because of the range of sizes you get on the cape. If you're tying a lot of one size, then I would say that's when saddles become more useful. This is still a useful, I'll still use this cape, I've got no problems with the cape. And the feathers themselves are in good condition. So that's the black dyed Chinese cock hackle. For the head hackle I used red game. It's actually a genetic, it's a very old and very battered genetic cape. That means it's grown primarily for feathers. You can see how well used this is. A great bald patch at the back and in the middle where the certain sizes, the trouty sizes are all used up. But I can still use this when I tie things like the cape. I tie in by the tip. You tie the feather in in reverse, and you can still get useful feathers from the back end of the cape. Back in the day, I think the cape might have been tied with a hen hackle or a strung hackle, but these work fine. They're a bit sharper, but they work fine. Now that's from the same position as the hackle I used in the video. You can see how long it is, and you can see how webby the centre is. The dry fly portion is beyond where I've opened up the hackle, and you can see that there's a taper in that portion between where the web is. There's a tapering fibre length. The barbs get longer towards the butt of the bird, the butt of the feather towards the bird, and that's where I would have tied in. So I tied in at that point, just where the fibres are a wee bit longer than the body hackle, and then as I wind on, they get longer and longer. It's worth investing. I think it's worth investing in a good red game cape. Again, I prefer neck capes for the variation of sizes. This is a very low grade. This is actually a tyres grade. Worth a punt, I think. For the tail of the Kate, I used golden pheasant topping. This head comes with, the full head comes with a tippet and with topping, crest and collar. The names are synonymous. This is a piece of a head, and it's where I actually got the tail of the fly that I tied. you can buy these whole. It's worth investing in a whole head. You don't have to get the best grade, but they're useful things. That's like the feather that I used for the fly in the video, and you can see how twisted it is. If I wash this, it'll straighten as it dries, but that portion at the tip is straight enough for my purposes. So all I need to do is clean off the butt, wet it in my mouth, and I've got a single strand of tail that I can tie in. Wetting it with saliva just holds everything together and makes it neater to tie. These are not expensive. They are classic, so you may not want them for the most modern flies. But for traditional flies, these are really, it's nice to have one of these. They're not expensive, and it's worth having one tucked away in a safe poly bag. Now, I've mentioned hen capes a couple of times in the text and in the video, and I wanted to show you what these are and make some comments about them. These are both black hen capes. The one in my hand is an Indian. It's grown for food. You can see that there's a bit of fat and flesh on the back, dried on the back. But these are that's a classic. This is a genetic hen. I think this is a Shannon or something. I'm not sure what brand it is. Very clean skin, very little fat on the skin. And you can see how differently shaped they are. A lot of that's down to the way that they've been prepared. But the big thing is, look at the feathers. These are about the same fibre length. The one under my finger now is a natural. This is a genetic. And you can see also that at the tip of the genetic, it becomes more like a cock. The fibres are sharper. There's still a bit of web in the centre, but the fibres are sharper. The Indian hen is webby all the way to the tip. You can't palmer with the Indian. It's simply not long enough to palmer a fly the size I tied. But you can palmer with the modern genetic hen. And that's why when people say wet flies like the Kate should be tied with hen body and head hackle, they can't be. The traditional way they were tied, the feathers wouldn't have been appropriate, they wouldn't have been suitable. So we can do it now, but back in the day they couldn't. Now, the hen fibres are softer, much softer than cock. They they soak down onto the fibre. They're much more mobile when they're in water than cock fibres. The fibres of cock hackle. Which means that the flies fish differently. These cock hackles stay up in the water. They make more of a commotion on the surface. Hen hackles are soaked. So they stick to the side of the fly as they come up to the surface. So there's a real difference between the way that cock and hen look on a fly and the way that they handle when you're fishing. Both have places. I have wets tied with hen and wets tied with cock hackle. But it's worth knowing the difference. Indian hen is still available and it's quite cheap. The Chinese cock that I used is available and it's not terribly expensive. Genetics, hen and cock, are expensive, but if you get into it, there's a lot of material in these things, and they are worth. I think they're worth the money.